It's time for the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Powerful and liberating business strategies you can start in 5 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, Dean Soto.
Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of FreedomIn5Minutes.com and ProSulam.com. And we're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode. Today's topic is this. You never know until you open your mouth. That and more coming up. All right, so not too long ago, I had one of my employees. Let me put it this way. So I'm just gonna jump right into the story, guys. I'm gonna just jump right into the story. I'm out on a walk with Luna Meister. We got to get this going. All right. So I actually just got off call with a client, really good client. He is absolutely amazing. And he has a couple of VSAs, and we had a certain situation happen with one of his VSAs. So he has a couple of them. He had one situation where this VSA was really good, but was causing some problems based off of what they wanted to do. How do I quite say this? They were just causing some problems, just to say that. And I was under the impression that they had broken one of our policies, okay? And I'm pretty strict, when it comes to our policies, because, you know, once one policy is broken and you don't do anything, then it's going to happen again and again and again and again. And so in this particular situation, one of the policies, I actually thought the policy was broken, and I was ready to fire this person. And it was there was just some really crazy stuff that was going on, and it was back and forth with the customer. I really didn't know what exactly was going on. So I asked the customer to get on, if he could get on the call, and we can chat and discuss kind of all the stuff that's been going on. Well, I was going into this meeting like ready to basically be like, okay, look, we're kind of done. All right. If things are going to be this way, because the way that I thought they were, things are going to be this way, then, we'll just call it done for now. I don't want to get totally into specifics, but it was something where it was serious. Things like time card fraud and other really important things, I will literally end relationships either with the VSA or with the client, depending on what the situation is, right? So I'm getting on this call. I'm ready to go for the jugular and just be like, we're done. And it's fine. And so I hop on the call and I asked some questions. I opened my mouth and I asked some very key questions just to make sure from my staff and from theirs to make sure that policies were violated. Okay. So I asked these very pointed questions, and both the client and my account manager said, oh no, that policy, like these policies were not violated, but it was just very confusing as to what the VSA wanted, right? And it caused all this issue. And so I immediately was like, wait a minute. So what you're saying is that there was no policy violated, but these are the concerns that were brought up and so on and so forth. And the client even right away, prior to us even really talking about it, was like, yeah, I wouldn't want to do something. I wouldn't want to go behind your back. I wouldn't want to circumvent the system because, it's you source such high quality people, amazing people, that I'd be shooting myself in the foot in the future, right? And so I was like, okay, well, since that completely changed everything that I thought, maybe I will shut my mouth. I'll shut my fat mouth and I will see what exactly happened and just plan for the future. So anyway, we started talking back and forth about the whole entire situation. And yes, I know I'm not giving specifics because I don't like giving specifics. But the customer and I started talking back and forth about the situation, and we came to a really, really good place. In fact, it was so good that he expressed how happy he was with the service, how happy he was with a Prosulum Virtual Systems Architect, and that it's really transformed the way he does business. And so when we got off the call, I was just like, man, that was a close one. I could have lost a really good customer if I didn't open my mouth and ask the right questions, right? A lot of the times we get into trouble because we are not asking good questions and we're not listening, right? It's much harder to be a good listener. It's much harder to listen to the situation and be a good and really take in what other people are saying, what their concerns are, and so on and so forth. And we immediately think one thing when it really is something completely different, right? And so it's important, extremely important, that we learn to ask the right questions. You learn to ask the right questions and to listen prior to making judgments, prior to cutting off relationships, prior to making a decision that could potentially sever a really good client or a really good business partner or things like that, right? So had I not asked the right questions, it would have been a really horrible situation. Let's just be honest. It would have been a very horrible situation. And so what can you do this week? What can you do this week that will help you to make what can you do this week that'll help you to listen to one of your clients, to listen to your spouse, to ask your spouse questions, ask your business partner questions, ask your clients questions, rather than dictating and rather than assuming what you think is going to happen? What's one thing right now? Maybe you are struggling with a client right now, and you're telling them one thing and they're telling you another thing. How can you change that and start asking the right questions that give you not only give you the answer, but builds rapport, because they feel as though you really are listening and you really want to get to the heart of the issue. So what are some things right now that you can do to make that happen? What's one thing that you can do this week to really start listening to somebody else by opening your mouth and asking the right question? So this is Dean Soto. I'm going to get back to taking a walk with Luna, and I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Now, head over to www.freedomin5minutes.com and register for our free masterclass and discover how to start systemizing and automating your entire business 5 minutes at a time. We'll see you next time on the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.